u.com.
Okay, welcome students. So in this session we are going to see assembler directives. Okay, so what is assembler? So assembler means that is a software or it is a tool that is used to convert the assembly language program into machine language. So directives or director is that is used to derive the assembler during a time of converting machine language, that means assembly language into machine language. Okay, so that is a assembler directives. Assembler directives is looking like an instruction that is used to direct the assembler to proper way for convert assembly language into machine language. What is assembler? Already we have studied in previous class, that is assembler is a program which translate assembly language program into machine language program. Why we need to transfer assembly language into machine language? So assembly language is mainly designed for human understanding. So if we want to add, we are using ADD instruction, add. If we want a subtraction, SUB instruction is used. So human can understand. But the microprocessor cannot understand add, sub, etc. So that this instructions, that means the assembly language instructions, it should be converted into another one language that the 8086 microprocessor can understand. That language is called as machine language. So the machine language is a binary numbers. So the microprocessor can understand or it can read the binary numbers. It can execute the binary numbers. So the assembler is a tool or a program which translate assembly language program into machine language program, that is a assembler. Then assembler directives. An assembler directives is a statement to give direction to the assembler to perform the task of assembly process. So it is a direct assembler directive is a statement that is some instructions to give direction to the assembler to perform the task of assembly process. Assembly process means assembly language into machine language conversion process. So assembler directives provides the necessary information to an assembler to understand assembly language program to generate machine code. To understand assembly language program to generate machine codes. They indicates how an operand to be processed by the assembler. So assembler directives help the assembler to convert assembly language into machine language in proper way. So assembler directives is a statement or small instructions that easily convert assembler assembly language program into machine language. So assembler directives is always associated with the assembly language program. Whenever it convert the assembly language program into machine language, at the time the assembler directives is not converted, instructions only converted. So assemblers support directive to define data, to organize segments, to control procedures. Okay. Assemblers support the directives to define data. So in C program, we define the numbers by int integer. Similarly, here we are using different statement to define data, to define strings, etc., and to organize the segment and to control the procedure. Okay. Then assembly language program consists of two things. Assembly language program means the program for 886. So actually, C program is there, many languages there, C, C++, embedded C, etc. So these are universal language. So we can convert the C program into a microprocessor or any other processors according to some compiler. Okay. So but assembly language is a mother tongue of 8086 microprocessor. So our mother tongue is Tamil, as like the mother tongue of microprocessor is assembly language. So we can use directly type the instruction to microprocessor. Okay, it will convert that assembly language into machine language in hardware oriented. That means standalone mode. In serial mode, that means the microprocessor is connected with the computer means. So the computer have one tool that is called assembler. That assembler convert the assembly language program we entered into machine language program. Then that machine language program is downloaded to microprocessor. After that, microprocessor is executed. Okay, but the assembly language program has two different things. One is instructions, another one is the directives. Instruction is such as addition, multiplication, division, subtraction, and logical arithmetic and logical operations. And directives is, that is assembler directives. Org means the starting address, we will see. Okay, so the assembler convert the instruction into machine code, but directives not converted. Directives is not converted. Directives that is mainly used to support the assembler to convert the instruction into machine code. Okay, so that the directive is not converted. Okay. Then some assembler directives: Borland Turbo Assembler (TASM), IBM Macro Assembler (MASM), Intel 886 Macro Assembler (ASM), then Microsoft Macro Assembler. So these are the different assemblers used with 886 microprocessor. So in our lab we are using MASM tool. Okay. Okay. Then this is some directives. So assembler directives. Assume. Assume means we have to assume some data segment or code segment. DB means define byte. Define byte. DD means define double word. DQ means define quad word. DT means define 10 bytes. TW means define word. End means that indicates the end of the program. End P means end of the procedure. Then end S means end of the segment. EQE means equate, that is equivalent. Even means align and even memory address. Group means group related segments. Org means originate, that is a starting address. Then PTR means pointer. Okay, so these are the assembler directives we are using in 886 assembly language program. Okay, so mainly that is used to define the some word byte. Okay, and that is assign something. Okay, right. So when we are writing assembly language program, we will get a clear idea about assembler directives. Okay, right. Then we will say one by one. First one, assume directive. The assume directive is used to tell the assembler that the name of the logical segment should be used for specified segment. So the assume directive used to tell the assembler that the name of the logical segment should be used for specified segment. So name of the logical segments is considered in assume directive. Then define byte. DB. DB is a directive is used to declare a byte type variable or to store the byte in memory location. So here we are using DB to define the byte 8-bit data. DB is a directive used to declare a byte type variable or to store the byte in memory location. DW define word. Define word is a directive used to define a variable of type word or to reserve the storage location of type word in memory. Here we are using define word, that means 16-bit. So directive used to define a variable of type word or to reserve storage location. So in memory we are reserve the storage location of type of word in memory. This is the DW. Then define double word. This directive is used to declare the variable of type double word or reserve the memory location which can be accessed as a type double word. So we can reserve the memory location to access as double word. Similarly, define quad word. This directive is used to tell the assembler to declare a variable four words in length or to reserve four words of storage in memory. So to reserve four words of storage in memory, that is a define quad word. DT define 10 bytes. It is used to inform the assembler to define the variable which is 10 bytes in length or reserve the 10 bytes of storage in memory. So these define word, define byte, define double word, define quad word, define 10 bytes. These are mainly used to inform the assembler to define a variable which access the bytes length or reserve the some bytes of storage in memory. Then end. So end is a assembler directive that is mainly used in end of the assembly language program, that is used to identify the program is over. Okay, that is the end of the program. So after the end segment, the assembler cannot read. So when the assembler find the end, so the assembler stop converting assembly language into machine language at end. That is the end of the program. Then end procedure. So procedure means that is a sub program or it is a subroutine. So we are starting some location that the procedure present in some location. Okay, so at in that subroutine, the end of the subroutine is indicated by the end procedure. So indicate the end of the procedure to the assembler. Then end, yes, end of segment. This directive is used with the name of the segment to indicate the end of the logical segment. So here we are consider a logical segment. So the logical segment end location is mentioned by end, yes. Then EQU. This EQU directive is used to give a name to some value or to symbol. So some value is equate to some variable. This EQU directive is used to give a name to some value or to a symbol. Okay, that is a EQU. Then procedure. The procedure directive is used to identify the start of procedure. Okay, so actually in previous is NP, that indicates the end of the procedure. PRO means there is a procedure that indicates the start of the procedure. So this assembler directive indicate the assembler here the procedure starts. Then PTR is a pointer operator, is used to assign a specific type of variable or a label. This is a pointer. It is used to assign a specific type of variable or to labels. Okay. Then the last one is the origin. So origin statements changes the starting address of the data or program. So origin is a starting address. It is indicates the starting address of the program. So if you change the starting address, org space 2000 means the program starts at 2000. Org space 3000 means the program starts at 3000. So that indicates a program starting location in memory. Then here we are going to see some examples of directive. So first assume CS is code. So CS is a code segment. So we are assuming. Now over the 3000 means the program start at 3000. So assembler start convert the assembly language into machine language from 3000 memory location 3000. Then define byte DB. So define byte. So here Thomas is the own name that is assumed to define. Okay, by using DB we can uh, define this name to Thomas is the name. Similarly, define double byte. Okay, so here we are having 32-bit number. So 1 2 3 4 is 32-bit. Another 1 2 3 4 is a 32-bit. So that is pointer is a variable. So for a pointer, we are define this 32-bit number. That is means double byte number. Sorry, double word number. Okay, DD. Actually, what is DD? Double word. Okay, it's not double byte. Okay, right. Sorry, DD is a defined double word. So that's a 32-bit number. One word is a 16-bit number. Okay. Then factor. Factor is equal to 03. So factor is a variable. That is a variable that is equal to 03. Okay. So this is a simple example. Okay, next session is the assembly language program. So during the time of assembly language program, you can clearly understand what is directives and how to use directives in assembly language program. Okay, right? So this is a example, simple example. Okay, so actually assembly directives are a very smaller topic. So please ask in 6 mark or 10 marks. Okay, please share and subscribe and like. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching.